back to my Creative Chronic life, and today I am back with a reading journal chat for the month of December. I recently did a reading / end of year chat on my channel just to kind of talk about where I was at throughout the year and how far I've been reading. I didn't actually expect to start reading in December. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna wait, leave it and start to the new year. But something nice happened. I basically picked up a Kindle in a D-stash from the lovely Beth Plans. Probably know her on Peaches and Pages on Facebook Book Club. And I picked up a Kindle, wasn't quite thinking about it, and I just thought, you know what, let's give it a go, because I've been struggling with reading and I mentioned a lot of reasons as to why in that video, so I thought, why not? And then it got sent through, and basically I have been reading ever since. I decided to set up this reading dashboard for the month of December, and I'll share a little bit about who, when, what, how afterwards. But all I'm doing is just marking with the blue where I've got a new book, the light brown if I've read each day, and the peachy pink if I finished a book, and the darker grey if I have D and F'd a book. And since I'm reading on my Kindle / audio, I've been reading pretty much since the day I received the Kindle. I think I set it up the day after, and I've absolutely been loving it. It's been so liberating, because I'm not in pain via reading, and if I get a bit tired, I just listen to the audiobook. That's been a bit harder to kind of get stuck through to, but at the same time I've been really enjoying it. So all I'm doing now here is just filling in some of the bits that I've missed out. So we've got the reading dashboard, and then I'm just going to fill in some pieces. So what I'll do now is I'll just pop over some music, and then I'll go ahead and talk about it a little bit more in depth later on. Of questions in regards to my book covers over on Instagram, and basically I originally purchased my book covers from Planner Stickers. You get a 600 page any book you want, really cute, pretty, but I decided that I wanted mine a little bit bigger, so I thought I would just print them out and then cut them by hand. So that's all I'm doing here. I just used like a basic cutter. I've got a few different ones, but this one I like the most, and I just take my time and cut each book down. At the moment I'm only doing 3, just for the ones that I need for this book club, but yeah, that's what I do. I also sometimes just use a standard pair of scissors. I would like to be able to have something set up so that I can then put it into like my Cricut or my Silhouette machine, and I can just cut out an entire page. And or I want it to be able to be, once I've got my original like journal set up for the year, I won't need as many books, just the books that I'm buying. And now that hopefully I'll be reading a bit more, I feel like I'd be a bit anxious waiting for them to be then ordered and then come through, so this way it's just easier. And also I've realised that I want them a little bit bigger than what I've got. I know Planner Stickers definitely do that, but again, like I said, I'm a little bit impatient. Okay, so my plan is to leave everything as it is. I thought I would update and change things, but I'm not going to. I'm just gonna write down the reviews that I want to do in the month of December and then just set up a brand new setup in 2025. So I'm just flipping through now and having a look at the current page that I'm on. So all I'm going to do is just add the little mini book covers, and then I think I'm gonna pop back in at the end and just have a chat about the current books, my thoughts, and how I've been feeling as such. And here's me just showing you what the entire A4 page looks like in terms of my book covers, and then I just cut them with the cutter, or sometimes if I feel like it, by hand. So now that we're up to date with everything, I'm going to start off with the first book that I've read in the month of December, and that is Credence. And here I am just showing you my Kindle and the book cover, what it looks like. Also, the cover actually came with the stickers on, and I think they're really cute, so I'm just leaving it as it is. I might change them up next year, but for now they're perfectly fine. So all I'm going to do now is write down some of the favourite quotes from Credence, and then I go ahead and just write down my review, and I pop back in, and then we have kind of like the full chat about the books I've read and the thoughts. So I'll just pop over some music and we'll catch you back at the end. Okay, so now that I finished writing the quotes and the review down, I thought I would leave some of the footage in just to let you know how long it takes. To be honest, it actually took longer than that, but what I did was just cut it out. I thought, why not? Otherwise it'd end up being like a 2-3 hour long video. I'm not a fast writer, and as you can see, I clearly can't write in a straight line, and that's okay, it's not a problem. So what I thought I would start off with Credence. I started reading Credence by Penelope Douglas on the 6th of December 2024, and then I finished it on the 10th of December 2024. This is a TikTok recommendation, and I read/listened to it on Audible and Kindle. Did I love it? Yes, it was a great read, and the rating I gave it was 5 stars, and the chili rating was also 5. So I really enjoyed this book, not only because it was my first Kindle read, but also it was my first book that I actually finished in a long time, within a few days time. Usually it takes me months and months, and I have to switch because I get bored, etc. Whereas this one was nice to read. There was a lot of stuff going on, of course, which I'll talk about in the review itself, but yeah, that's kind of where we stand with that. I just wanted to talk about the page in itself, the washi tape at the top and the bottom, and like Lost in the World of Fiction, and the little book washies from Harriet Wright Designs. All of the title, author, started, finished scripts, wish, read, loved, quote and review, and the little stars and the chilies, and a custom order from Plannable Stickers. And then I used I think it was a Finlini pen, 0.5mm, and then a brown zebra pen to colour everything else in. That's kind of the basic of the spread in itself. Okay, so I'm going to try my best not to kind of give any spoilers away, but I went searching online. I think it was something like Kindle recommendations, what to read on my Kindle, and this book come up, and then I did a few more checks, and it basically, the reviews came out really good, as well as the people's like reactions. Nobody gave any spoilers, so I wasn't sure what it was about. Now, from the get-go, page 1, I was pretty much hooked. The way that the first chapter went wasn't what I was actually expecting at all, and I was really hooked. The writer, Penelope Douglas, writes beautifully in terms of description, where she is, the thought process, and the point of view is, 3-4 different people throughout the book, and it's fine. I like the fact that there's nothing else extra, like no extra narrator, nothing else that's popping up. It was just a really, really good, simple read in the perspective of the actual writing from the author. Now, the storyline, that is something that's a little bit different, because I wasn't actually expecting the storyline to be what it was. I don't know what the word credence means, no idea whatsoever, so I wasn't quite sure what to get myself into. Now, this book comes with trigger warnings. Because I was reading it on my Kindle, I didn't see the trigger warnings because the book took me to chapter 1, the first page. And again, because I was a new Kindle user, I didn't know. I didn't realise I had trigger warnings until after I read the book, and it started back to like page 0, and then I saw. And then when I went to look at other people's reviews over on Fable, I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. I should have probably read the trigger warnings. So just to make sure, if you do want to read this book, make sure you read its trigger warnings. And all trigger warnings mean is that if the book may share, it could be anything from grief to intimacy to things that are kind of, not spoken about or taboo, or it could be, lots of variations of things, abuse, that type of thing. So that's what the trigger warnings are there for. So read them before you start a book. Have a look at the first page if it's in a physical book, and again, if it's like an audio book or something, just take a couple of seconds to read the description so you're not kind of blindsided like I am. So I was pretty much blindsided. I got a couple of chapters in, and then like these thoughts and feelings, I was like, hang on a minute, this doesn't feel right. But it changed to the different point of view. So obviously it's about a young girl, something happens, and then it's about 3 or 4 other people. I'm not going to share too much information because I don't want to ruin the story, because then it's almost like I'm talking about it. And this is probably one of the ways that I've done it. So if anybody really wants me to share specific spoilers or talk about it, please come and join me on Fable and My Creative Chronic Life. You can follow me on MCC Life Book Club. You can also follow me on Book Talk too, for sure, at MCC or Book Talk, either or, and we can chat about it in depth. Safe space, any questions, any conversations. I always share the book that I'm currently reading, but you don't have to be on the book to want to come in and join and say hi. So I just thought I'd mention that to you. So yeah, in itself, I was a bit surprised. It's not something I usually hear in terms of like genre reading. I'm normally like a romantic person, boy meets girl, something happens, or distance or something, and that's it. This was very different for me. Not only was a lot of intimacy involved and spice, but also the way that it was. So I put the book down a few times until it got over one hurdle, and then the dynamics changed a little bit, that I then kind of feel a little bit more better and continue to read. I think either way, I think I was still hooked because of the storyline, and I wanted to find out what happened, so I continued on. And then towards the end, I felt like the book was rushed. I felt like this book could have even been a book 2. It should have been a book 2, and it could have taken its time just a little bit more, if that makes sense. But again, nice ending, a little bit obviously romantic, typical, I'd say, but at the same time, nice surprise, nice twists and turns, and an overall good book. So what I'll do is I will read the review I've just written, and then if you want to look at my other reviews on the book. 'Cause sometimes what I write here is not the same as what I write on the Fable or Goodreads review. I'm no longer on Goodreads, but you can always find me on Fable. I mean, I am still technically have the app, so if you did want to contact me or join, you could do. So we'll start off with the review. It says, I heard about this book from TikTok. I've seen lots of reviews but no spoilers. The reactions made me want to read this. I recently picked up a Kindle in a D-stash. I decided this would be the book I am going to read. As soon as I saw the cover, it felt like it was going to be some sort of horror, but from the first page I was hooked. You can see why I thought it looked like it was going to be some sort of horror from the book itself, because on the Kindle it looks like it's black and white. Anyhow, I love the way the author uses words to describe scenes. I really felt like I was there. Even sometimes I felt like I was there up on the mountains. I could feel the cold air and the crisp mountains. It's been many years since I felt like I really wanted to read more and more. The storyline, I was a little blindsided by the storyline, and I wasn't expecting it to be so steamy. I had to put the Kindle down a couple of times as I felt like I shouldn't be reading the words. But once I got over the initial embarrassment, I was looking forward to seeing where the story took me. The ending, I felt like it was a bit rushed. I reckon it could have gone slower, maybe even have had a book two. Overall, an odd-ish storyline, great writing by the author. I'm still thinking about it a week later, so that tells me something. It came with some trigger warnings which I did not read. I rate this 5 stars as it kept me reading, and I also rated it 5 chilies for the spice rating. I'm looking forward to reading more from this author. Also the first time listening to an audiobook, and wow, I loved it. So yeah, fantastic read. So I switched between the both, which was good, and like I said, I haven't read it in a couple of days. So that's kind of my reviews and thought processes for Credence. Now the next book I actually started to read was again another TikTok recommendation, and it says How My Neighbour Stole Christmas by Meghan Quinn. I started it on the 10th of December and I finished it on the 15th, and I read it on the Kindle. I have mixed reviews. I thought I wanted to do like a full solid written review, but I don't have time. It took me too long to do the one, so I'm just going to talk about it just in case you want to read it. On Fable, I think I gave this 3 stars and a 2-star chili rating, so that tells you like the spiciness level of it. In itself, the book has a lot of Christmas, which I'm fine. I love it. It's warm and cozy, brilliant, but I felt like it took so long for the story to move forward. I felt like it was so much description, whereas you could kind of tell what's going to happen. Boy meets girl, fine. Neighbours, fine. The storyline in itself, great storyline. It's very, funny. I definitely laughed throughout it, and it was great as a movie. But just as long, many people understand about, I don't know, wreaths and baubles and candy canes and things like that. Like, to really know the in-depth things about it, I don't know, wasn't for me. But I still enjoyed it. I was skipping over some parts for sure because of the Kindle. I just kind of skipped past a lot of the description and got towards the end. The ending itself was very fast, very quick. 1 minute, one scene was happening, the next minute it was another scene, and then we were done. I was like, what? I felt a bit like, well, you spent that much time with all the description of everything else. We could have had a few less pages and a few more pages of the actual ending. It could have been, elongated for a couple of days, in terms of pages in the book, whereas everything just happened in the 124 hours. But anyhow, that's my thoughts on it. But I reckon if you want something and you don't mind a lot of description in a book, definitely for you. Light-hearted, a little bit of, spiciness, definitely a good read. I haven't felt like once I put the book down I was pretty much done, and I was already ready to go to the next, because I felt like towards the end I was closing my eyes and thinking, oh, I don't want to read this, but I wanted to read to get to the end of the book. So it was a 50-50 to find out what wanted to happen, but also at the same time I was like, I don't want to keep reading this, like, will you start with the descriptions? But either way, still a good book, and definitely a 3-star. I mean, I think I'm rating it high as a 3-star, only because the base storyline is really, really good, and the author writes lovely. There was some parts in there where the narrator, so the narrator / author, joins in, and like every chapter had a poem. Some of the poems were funny, but where the narrator joined in, I was like, there's no need. But I've seen since some clips about there possibly being like an audiobook coming, so that might make more sense. But at the moment, because the author said, she said the narrator would be in like a British accent. I mean, I'm British, the accent's already there. That's how I read in my head, with the British accent, so I don't quite see it or feel it, but that's okay. Maybe when the audiobook comes out I can listen to it then and see what the narrator parts sound like, but I found it really odd. But anywho, I just thought I would give you this update. I'll just go ahead now and just colour in the little chilly parts just to remind myself what I've done, because I'll write this off screen. If you want me to read what I've wrote like I did with Credence, I can come back maybe at the end of December if I add any more books to the collection. If not, then we will just stay as this is and start a brand new one in January, and maybe we can do a month by month one. If you like these type of videos, please let me know, because I love listening to other people's thoughts. I'm not sure how I feel about having like a January book stack, so where you think about all the books you're going to read, because I think I like the fact that it's recommendations and I'm trying to test all genres, because I'm reading after a long time. I think going outside of my norm is definitely much better for me. It helps me read more. I mean, just since having the Kindle from the 6th, we're now I think 16, 17, 18, something like that, I've read almost 3 books by this point, and that's really good for me, considering I don't think I've read 3 books in the entire year. I mean, I did read it end with and start with it, but that doesn't count because the books were thin and the storyline was great. So, and I was also excited about the movie to come out. So yeah, we'll see what happens anyway. So that is my thoughts and feelings on How My Neighbour Stole Christmas. Okay, so the third book that I'm currently reading is The Female by Invi Wright. I started it on the 15th of December. It was actually a TikTok recommendation from Invi Wright. I saw one of them TikToks where it says listen and don't judge, but almost like book edition, where they tell their spouse about stories that they're reading, and their spouse then reacts and says if they would read or not. So originally I saw this, but I didn't realise it was her book. And I like the idea of the storyline. Of course, it's fantasy, so there's like fae and demons and incubi and humans and all the other stuff. And I like the sound of the story. It's about a female, obviously the females, but a particular female called Charlotte and her storyline, and she gets taken away to the land of the demons. And so far, so good. I mean, I've really not been able to put it down. As we stand today when I'm filming this, I'm about 80 pages left, and I'm sure I'll be done by that tomorrow. And there's three other books, and this is book 1, then there's book 2, 3 and 4, and I hope that they kind of connect with each other, because that'll be brilliant. But again, I'm going in blind with these books. I may continue to read the next one, or I might read something else, but I just wanted to mention, if you're looking for something that is a great read, definitely spicy, steamy, but also the way that this author writes is beautiful. And I followed her over on Instagram and TikTok, and just generally the way that she explained things and on about talking in terms of making her TikToks and explain the story. I wish she would actually do the audio of the story, if that makes sense, and then I'd buy the audio and I could listen. So I'm just going to show you the next 2. So I think it's Her Males, Their War, and then the other one is Chef's Mate. So I've already got them in the hopes that I'm going to read them, because I'm on Kindle, so I get them. You can download them for free with your Kindle subscription. So I've downloaded them, so hopefully once I get to the end, and if I'm still feeling in the same type of fantasy mode, I'm going to continue on. But if not, I might take a break and come back, but I definitely think I'll come back. I really think I'm just going to end up reading the next book, if I'm honest. But we'll see, maybe another recommendation will come up and I'll read that before this one. But I'm really enjoying it, so I thought I'd mention that to you, just in case that you're looking for something in terms of something new from a new kind of writer. I think this is her 4th book, and then there's another one on its way. I'm not sure if they're connected or not, but again, you can follow them over on social media accounts. But love the way that this author writes. Very, very good. It really resonates, and it brings the pictures to life, which I really, really, really enjoy. So yeah, we'll do a full review of that maybe come the new year, or if I read any more books after this point. If not, you'll probably see my book review over on Fable. If you want to see I tried to do them with no spoilers, so I'm not sure if I want to do spoilers here as such. I don't think so. Maybe I could do two versions. The first version being where I share here, and then the next where I put a spoiler in there. But I don't like spoiling. I just think if somebody comes across a book and they see it and they're like, oh, I wish I didn't know that part, because you never know what's going to spoil something for somebody. So I try to keep even names and characters and the way people are out, but I am really enjoying The Female. So definitely put that on your read either for now or 2025. Thank you so much for joining me on this December chat / catch up and sharing information about my newfound reading journey. I'm so glad that I picked up that Kindle, because it has really made all of the difference. Again, if you've got disabilities like me or are struggling in terms of holding a book, a Kindle is definitely the way to go. It doesn't have to be one of the new ones. I don't think it matters as long as this one's small. I think it's 9 inches, and that's perfect. I'd love to have it a little bit smaller just so it could fit in my pocket, but this fits in my handbag perfectly, so I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, if you are not already subscribed to my channel, please do, to receive notifications of upcoming videos. We might have an end of year review / setup for 2025. I'm still deciding on a theme, to be honest, so we can come back and decide that at a later date. But yeah, I have a couple of things in mind. And don't forget, you can follow me over on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok, and of course now Fable at My Creative Chronic Live. And you can also follow me over on Book Talk at MCCL Book Talk. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye bye.